Okay. All right. So here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Klugekopf TechBridge webinar. My name is Jennifer, and I am the program coordinator at Klugekopf TechBridge, and I will be your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's conversation is titled The Skills Women Will Need to Lead and Thrive in the Next 5 Years. And there's no doubt that the world is changing, and it's changing fast. AI, automation, remote work, and digital transformation, they're all reshaping industries and also creating new opportunities. And they're also changing what it looks like to succeed. So, of course, technical skills are important, but they're just one part of the picture. To truly grow in today's workspace, women need the confidence to speak up. They need the ability to communicate their value, and they need the courage to pursue new opportunities and the visibility and that helps others to recognize the work that they're already doing. And at Klugekopf TechBridge, we're passionate about helping women and underrepresented learners to build practical tech skills, create real proof of work, and prepare for meaningful careers. So today we're going beyond the technical skill. We're talking about the mindset, the confidence, the human skills that help these women to stay relevant, step into leadership, and thrive in the rapidly changing world. I'm really excited to introduce our guest today, Sheena Yap Chan. Sheena is a Wall Street Journal and publishes weekly best-selling author. She's a TEDx and keynote speaker and one of the leading voices in Human Readiness, which is a field that is focused on the intersection of confidence, visibility, and the future of work. She is the founder of Human Readiness movement and the creator of Visible Framework, which stands for voice, identity, spotlight, inner work, belief, leverage, and elevation. Her first book, The Tower of Self Confidence, was recognized by Book Authority as one of the best self confidence books of all time. And her latest book, Bridging the Confidence Gap, it challenges us to see the confidence and visibility not as nice to have soft skills, but as essential leadership skills. And she's also the host of the Tao Self Confidence podcast with more than 1.3 million downloads and over 800 interviews featuring women from more than 180 countries. Over the years, she has worked with organizations including NASA, Live Nation, and UKG. Sheena, we're glad to have you here. Thank you for taking out the time to speak with us today.
Thanks so much for having me. Super excited to be here today.
Before we dive in, how are you? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'd love to know what drew you to this topic. Why has helping women build confidence and visibility become such an important part of your work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it really stemmed from my upbringing. I moved from the Philippines to Canada when I was very young, and Canada, like living in Toronto, it's such a multicultural city, but it was never reflected in the media. So part of me always felt ashamed of who I was, my culture, how I was brought up. And it wasn't until like my 20s where I really, dyed my hair from blonde to back to my original hair color where I finally embrace my culture and who I am. And, for me, I always see like women do amazing things, but yet are never celebrated. Nobody hears their stories. And so that's why I started my podcast as a way to share these women's stories. And I've interviewed over 900 women on the topic of confidence. And I understand that, nothing happens if you don't put yourself out there, especially growing up in a culture where we've been taught to stay in the background, never make any noise, do as you're told. It was really too hard to unlearn that and relearn different things. And I realized visibility is how we can get in front of the right people, the right decision makers to get to those opportunities. So, you know, as women, we've always been told, don't promote yourself, don't put yourself out there. But if you're in business for yourself, how are you expecting people to buy your products and services and know what you do and your branding and what you stand for? So for me, it is important because when you put yourself out there to the right decision makers, that's when, the magic happens. You're in front of the right opportunities. And I think sometimes people have this misconception of visibility when They think you have to be everything everywhere all at once. But again, it's about being in front of the right decision makers, the right people, the right opportunities, the right platforms to get your message across. So, when you do it strategically, it helps you out. We've been presented with so many opportunities, but sometimes we're afraid to take it because of how we perceive ourselves. It's part of the reason why I wrote my book, Bridging the Confidence Gap, because every single person out there is capable of doing amazing things. Anybody. But how they see themselves really holds them back. And that's where the gap is, right? There's a disconnect with how capable you are versus how capable you feel. And so when there's a disconnect, you're not going to go out there and take the first step. And one of the main reasons why I also wrote the book was because there was a report from the World Economic Forum that mentioned total gender parity would be achieved at the earliest in the year 2154, which is a long time. That's like 5 generations at least.
Yeah,
And that's when I wrote the book 2 summers ago. So now it's actually delayed to 2158. And I don't think any woman wants to wait that long for total gender parity to be
I
achieved.
agree.
And so this is why the work like this is so important. It's so needed. It's to help women realize what's possible for themselves. When we keep showing up, we show them what's possible.
Thank you for that. Let's start with something that many people they may be hearing for the first time. You talk a lot about the human readiness. So, what does this
Yeah.
actually mean, and why do you believe it's something that is so important, it's such an important skill for workplace to continue to evolve?
Yeah, I mean, human readiness is really the ability to adapt with confidence, lead through change, communicate with clarity, and thrive in an evolving world, right? A lot of
Yeah,
people focus on the tech skills, the AI skills, this skills, but in order to tackle those skills, we need to be humanly ready, right? Do we believe in ourselves? Do we think we can move with the change? Do you think that we trust ourselves enough to go out there and take action? When people don't have trust in themselves, they're not going to go out there to do it, right? They're not going to go out there and put the first step. And we've seen this time and time again in workplaces, right? There's a report that
yeah,
mentioned only 9% of the workforce live up to their full potential in the workplace. So imagine the 91% that don't. And that's a human readiness problem, right? Sometimes they don't believe in themselves. Sometimes they think they're lacking something. Sometimes they think they doubt themselves. All those things are really important because those are the skills that will help us move forward and tackle on these things, right? We don't have to figure everything out at that moment, but we can learn that we can do it as we go, right? A big great example of that is the pandemic. 6 years ago we were locked down. We didn't know what was going to happen. We went from living a normal world to like nothing, right? Like stuck at home,
yeah,
nobody outside.
definitely
And we did not know what was going to happen. We had no idea if the world was going to end, or we didn't know. Like it was
true.
total uncertainty. But as humans, we were able to thrive. We were able to pivot. We were able to figure it out as we go, and we were able to move forward. And that's human readiness skills, right? Being able to keep moving forward regardless of the circumstances, believing that we can make it happen despite of the challenges. And so for me, human readiness is an important topic. It's not talked about enough because these are the actual skills that really helps us move forward. So like an example is speaking. A lot of people want to speak. They want to be speakers. They want to be on stages, but there's a lot of things that hold them back. They're like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm not good enough. I don't have experience. I haven't written a book. All the things they tell themselves that stops them from moving forward. And some of the speakers you see on stage, and this is not knocking anybody down, but like they're not the greatest. They're just more willing to put themselves out there, right?
Yes.
Like there's someone out there who's better. Like you could be better than them, but the only thing that's really holding you back is how you see yourself. So this is why human readiness is such an important piece because we're all human. We're going to need the skills as time passes by, as new things come up. This goes beyond technology. This goes just every single situation that we're probably going to encounter, right? Change happens so quick, change happens fast. We can evolve, we can move forward as humans. The pandemic was a great example of that. So the more we talk about this, the more we can help people realize, like, it really just takes me to do it, right? Knowing I can make it happen. I don't have to figure it out how I can make it happen. I just know I can do it.
Yeah. I feel like you've already touched basically on almost every question I'm going to ask you in this session, but I'm going to ask anyway. So, many women in Klugekopf TechBridge community, they are either starting their career in tech or they're transitioning from completely different industries. And for someone that's making this kind of career shift, how do you think how can she build a strong professional identity before she has the years of experience?
I mean, that's a great question. I think for me, LinkedIn is a really great way to start building like a portfolio of your career. Like it's a great social media to talk about your thought leadership pieces, things like that. Also being able to talk to people who've been in their situation, right? Advise, get advice, see what they do, how they can transition, right? Or get a coach to help you through that transition to see what that looks like. There's people out there who just go for it, right? And not really overthink it. Like I know as women, we tend to overthink more than men. And there's studies about that, how we have like 1,000 more thoughts than men. So that's why we tend to overthink more. Sometimes you just have to like ready, fire, aim, just take action, course correct, start before you're ready, take action and course correct as you go. But I think it's important to seek advice to people who've been in your situation, hire someone who can help you with that transition and just start, right? Like start messy, like be okay to start messy, be okay to make mistakes because we've also been programmed to like make everything perfect. And
Mm.
when we focus on perfection, we delay ourselves. So I've been the type of person who just takes imperfect action, makes mistakes, and course correct as I go. And that's how I'm able to get results because I just keep doing things. I figure out what I did wrong, correct it, tweak it to be a lot better.
Oh, thank you. This question is going to lead into a later question. There's something about women who there are women who have these experiences where they're highly capable and they're hardworking, but they still feel overlooked. Why do you think this happens, and why can someone be doing so great but still miss out on an opportunity or a recognition or a leadership role even?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors, right? Like as women too, like we still get the short end of the stick, right? Like let's be honest, right? We still
Uh,
go through a lot of judgment, a lot of criticism, a lot of cultural things that we're told not to do as women. Like, in Asian culture, like again, we're told to never make any noise, do everything in the background, do as you're told, like be the obedient person, but that doesn't help us, right? So there's so many things that stops us and even trauma, right? We go
mm,
through some form of trauma, we're not aware that it's hindering our success. So we have to be aware of what's holding us back and how we can move forward, like how we can heal from it to move forward. It's not easy, especially like we've always been taught to like as women, we just wait for things, right? If I
yeah,
do good work, the results would speak for itself. And
yeah,
been told that so many times, but unfortunately, that doesn't happen, right? We get overlooked because we don't talk about our achievements. This is why, like in my visible framework, spotlight is really important. You need to spotlight your achievements, spotlight what you've been able to accomplish so that others can see. And yes, there's still a chance you'll get overlooked, but at least you're putting yourself out there, you're planting the seed so that the more you keep doing it, the more people keep seeing you. Just because you do it once doesn't mean it's going to magically like change. Change is not fast sometimes, right? Change can be slow.
yeah,
And especially as a woman who is of a different culture, we might have to work 10, 20, 100 times harder to get the message across. So it's not something that's overnight. It's something that we have to do day in, day out to get that message across. Because if not, I feel like the gender parity situation might delay even more than 2158, right?
mm,
So people don't realize like this takes work. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But unfortunately,
definitely.
we live in a world where we still get unfairness. We're still judged by how we look. We're still judged by our cultural background. We're still judged by being a female, and we need to keep putting ourselves out there to change that course.
Yeah, and then taking from your point, in today's world, we're constantly being told to keep learning because everything is changing. But sometimes that turns into endless preparation. Like you never get there. It's never enough, and you never know when to take the next step because you have to keep learning because things keep changing. So how can women continue learning without getting stuck of the "I'll do it later when I'm ready" mode?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I share about the ready, fire, aim approach. Like, just take action, right? If you learn something, take action. Because they always say knowledge is power, but really it's applied knowledge, right? We
Yeah.
can go through a never-ending like course of learning, 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 learning to the point where we feel overwhelmed. We have information overload, and then we resist. So it is important if you learn something, just take action. Don't worry, don't focus on the outcome. Don't be tied to it. Just take action. You can learn from it, right? Everything's either a lesson or a blessing. And I know it's easier said than done. This is why in my visible framework, I talk about inner work because 80% of the work that we do is how we see ourselves, our mindset to help us move forward, right? Inner work and belief. We need to be able to realize we're more than capable to go out there. We need to trust our own capabilities because if not, we're not going to take action. So, if you keep learning, 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 like it's wasted effort because you're not applying the knowledge that you're doing. If you learn something today, just do it. Just do it. I know it's easier said than done, but that's why we have to work on our mindset every single day. Just
Yeah.
set a goal of doing one new thing a day. One new thing a day, right? Or take one action a day. And if you do that for 30 days straight, just imagine what you can achieve. Confidence doesn't happen in big leaps. It happens in small, actionable daily steps that will yield the big results. So if you set a goal of one a day, just imagine what you can achieve.
I'm taking that one with me. So at Klugekopf TechBridge, every learner has to complete a practical project where they showcase that on their CV, they showcase that on their LinkedIn profile, and have a portfolio of it. So we'd like to hear from you. Why is having proof of work so powerful? How does actually building something help strengthen confidence, credibility, and visibility as well?
Yeah, I mean, you need to build trust. You have a trust bank, right? And so you need to build that trust bank so people can trust what you're doing. The more they keep seeing you, the more they trust you. When you're featured in third-party media platforms, they know that someone out there also knows that you're an expert or you're good at this or you do what you're doing. Especially if you're applying for different things like in speaking, right? Like I apply for a lot of speaking engagements. The first thing they ask is your LinkedIn profile. And so I make sure I have content in my LinkedIn profile. When they see it, they see that people trust me. I put content out, they see the comments, they see all the stuff that I do so that it builds them more trust. Because if you have a blank profile, they're not going to trust you, right? Like it's really it. It's important to build that trust because when you build that trust, then they're more willing to connect with you, right? And especially in the role of marketing before social media, they mentioned a person needs to see your product or service at least 7 times before they
Mm,
make a buying decision. But now in social media, it's like quadrupled. So this is why visibility is
yeah.
so important because without it, like people are not going to know who you are, what you do, what you stand for, and then they can't trust you. That trust factor is
Mm,
so important.
so important. All right. In your book, Bridging the Confidence Gap, there is described in there confidence and self trust as leadership skills. How does confidence gap show up for women who are entering tech or changing career? And does the confidence gap always come from within, or is it something that is from the workplace environment, or something that is created to reinforce the confidence gap?
Yeah, I mean, the confidence gap for some women, it could look like not even applying for a promotion, even though they're 110% ready because they hold themselves back. They still think they're not enough. They need to do more. They're not qualified. Meanwhile, there's a man who's like 30% ready and just goes for it. That's just an
Mm,
example, right?
yeah.
Or starting a business, right? They're afraid to put themselves out there, share their first post, share a launch, like it scares you, right? Like for me, I remember doing video for the first time and it was scary. Like it took me 2 hours to do a 2-minute video because I was so scared. Like I held back myself so many times because I was so afraid to put myself out there, be afraid of what other people think of me or judge me. So that's another example. The confidence gap, there's so many, again, it's not just one thing, it's many things. And especially as women, there's so many things. So first, how we perceive ourselves, how we're brought up, what we're told in our during our upbringing, like being in Asian culture, a lot of people think Asian women are quiet, submissive, obedient when it's far from the truth, right? We still go through negative stereotypes. We still go through, sexism, toxic workplace, um, judge how we're dressed, judge by our skin color, judge by our age. Like again, so many factors that affect us, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, how do we take that away and keep moving forward? And this is why the confidence piece, doing the inner work, working on your mindset is so important because that helps you put the blinders up and keep going regardless of those things, right? I mean, there's things we can't control, which
Yes,
is that the
definitely.
outside forces, right? And it's hard. I get it, right? Like you put a post and then sometimes you get like 100 hate comments. It takes a
It's
toll
true.
on us. It takes a
It
toll
does.
on us mentally. I know I've been there. It sucks. But it's also a learning lesson, right? It also builds our resilience to keep moving forward regardless of it. And so this is why learning to do the inner work, building your belief system, learning to work through your trauma is so important so you can really show up as who you are. Because I have a lot of people asking me, how do you build confidence? How do you build confidence? And I ask them back, like, what is the root cause that's really stopping you, right? Is it something from your childhood? Is it a moment in your life where you felt like you were small? Like for me, I share this a lot. Like in kindergarten in the Philippines, I failed kindergarten for coloring outside the lines of a photo. And I know that sounds wild, but it happened, right? I was given a photo to
Yeah.
color, couldn't color within the lines, colored all over the place. Was given a brand new photo to do it, and it was the same result. And because of that, I failed kindergarten and had to move to another school to redo kindergarten all over again. And when you're 5, you don't know any better. You're a child, right? But
Yeah.
that also went up into my adult life, thinking that anything I launched was an instant failure, or I was just afraid to launch things because I just assumed I would be a failure. And it wasn't until I went to a personal development seminar where I finally realized that, like failure, right? We view failure as something negative when failure is a positive thing. It helps us learn what worked, what didn't work, how we can improve it, how we can pivot to make it better. So when we can see like failure from a different lens, from a positive lens, it helps us move forward. So we also need to change the things we've been taught like failure and other things, switch it from a different perspective to really move forward as well. So a lot of it is the inner work, like really building your mindset, because when you have that mindset to just keep moving forward, it's going to help you in the long run.
Yeah. Um, for many people, visibility can feel uncomfortable. It can sometimes feel like self promotion or even make them feel like they are at risk of something. So, what does healthy, authentic visibility actually look like? How can someone share her achievements without feeling like she's bragging?
I mean, for me, I've I'm at a point where I've stopped like personally, I've stopped caring about what other people think because if I keep attaching myself to that, nothing happens, right? And I know as women, we've been told that self-promotion isn't ladylike, but really, who invented that? Like, who said that, right? What makes it not ladylike? We need to take that away and see self-promotion as a leadership skill. You're advocating for yourself, you're putting yourself out there. And if you have a product or service that can help someone better their life, why wouldn't you share it, right? You're doing yourself a disservice by not putting yourself out there. And this, for me, this is why I put myself out there because I understand that fear that women go through. So when they see me putting myself out there, they were like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. So we have to lead by example. If not, then, I can say promote yourself. And if I don't do it, I become a hypocrite, right? But I put myself out there. I share my life. I share the good, bad, the ugly. Being authentic is not about being perfect. It's about the messy stuff, the things that most people don't talk about, right? Like, especially in tech. A woman in tech, it's hard, right? Like, you don't get as much funding. You're still judged by how you look. You have to go through like so much harassment. Like, it's a lot, right? And, the more we can share that, like, this is what's happening. And I'm not saying all, like, not, I understand not everyone goes through it, but a good number does, right? They still go through a lot of that stuff. Um, even like entrepreneurship, like it can be lonely, like being in business for yourself, right? Talking about that loneliness, how it feels and how you're able to push through it. Like that's okay to say, right? People love following your journey. So, every little piece that you have, you can turn into a blessing, a lesson, share the lessons that you have. Like I recently just shared a video of like my book, like being able to write not one but two books for Wiley. Like when they approached me, I wasn't ready. I didn't know if I could write a book about leadership. I thought, who am I to do that? But, I told myself I'm going to do it because I was all about representation. And if I don't do it, again, I become a hypocrite. So I did it. I figured it out. I just I just kept writing whatever, did on the spot to get to where I am today. And I did not only write one book, but two books for the publisher. So, um, hopefully that answers your question. I kind of went off tangent.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. I mean, we're here for all of the insight, all of the knowledge. So definitely, you developed visible framework, and for someone in our community who's learning a new skill and preparing for career opportunities, how would you recommend they start applying that framework in their journey?
Yeah, so again, the visible framework is part of the human readiness framework. So it's based from the word visible, and it has each letter represents something, right? So V is for voice, speak up, speak with clarity. Um, I is for identity, what do you want to be known for? What is your expertise? What is the value that you bring? S is for spotlight, which is it's important to put yourself out there. What's eyes for inner work? It's really important to work on your mindset, figure out what's stopping you, why are you holding back? Why do you deal with self-doubt? B is for belief. You really have to trust in yourself and your capabilities. L is for leverage. It's important to work smart, not just work hard. In order to 10x your impact, be okay to utilize tools, networks to amplify that, right? We've always been told to work hard. Nobody has ever told us to work smarter, right? You don't have to be a
Yeah.
one-man show. And then ease elevation. As you're moving up, bring others with you because that's how we can create more leaders. So a lot of people think, do I need to go in that order? No. You pick the letter that resonates with you that you think you need more work on, right? And you can create, what you're going to do this week, what you're going to do um, in a month, and then see the results for that. Just one thing, right? Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it super simple.
Oh, thank you so much for that answer. So AI is becoming part of almost every profession. Yeah, it can write, it can analyze, it can generate ideas, and also automate tasks. So, as AI is becoming more capable, what human skills will become even more valuable, and how can women use AI as a tool without losing their own voice, their own judgment, or their creativity in the process?
Yeah, I mean, I know AI has been a hot topic. It has its good and bad like everything else. For me, it's a tool like everything else. It helps automate some things, especially as women. Like it's really hard for us to do a million things when you're still taking care of kids, taking care of family, running errands. Like, we're not just doing one thing, we're doing many things, right? Like we can't afford to hustle 12 hours a day when you're taking care of three kids or you're a single mom taking care of three kids. Like it's a lot of work and people don't understand what work goes into that. The most underpaid job in the world is being a mother. You know? That's right. And so
Definitely.
when I hear men on the internet telling me I need to work 12 hours a day, you know, most women wish we had 12 hours a day, right? This is why AI is such a powerful tool because you can automate things. It can help you content plan. It can help you bounce off ideas. You can still show up as yourself without losing yourself, right? Again, it's a tool like everything, right? It has no emotion. It can't, it can copy you, but it still won't be you, right? They can tell.
Yes.
So, so,
Yes.
so for me, utilize it as a tool. Like
Mm.
utilize it to automate some things, to create, if you're like, especially when it comes to content, help you plan content, help you bounce off ideas so that you can keep moving forward. Um, you know, as AI rises, people are going to be looking for more human connection, right? They're going to want to connect with other human beings. That's why in-person events have been on the rise because, yeah, people are sick and tired of AI cat videos and AI fruit videos. They just want human connection. So, I know there's a lot of good and bad talked about it. I try to like not really talk about AI as much, but for me, I use it as a tool.
Uh, and for the women who are watching this and who are thinking about the future and they want to get ready for the next 5 years, what are three practical things that they can start doing?
I mean, I think having like, I guess a plan works, right? Like, what are you going to do this month? What are your goals in a year, and what are your goals in 5 years, right? Kind of reverse engineer it, take it from the first step. So like in a month's time, I want to learn these things. And then in a year's time, I want to get better at this. And then 5 years time, like what, create a timeline of what you want to do, right? Take it in small, actionable daily steps. Like what are you going to do daily to get to that goal? And once you get to that goal, what's the next action you're going to do, right? Again, take it one step at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, so don't expect yourself the same thing, right? Just take the first step, and then, you will figure it out as you go.
Now, to wrap up our conversation today, one final question. What would you say to someone who knows she's capable, but she feels stuck, overlooked, or unsure of what her next steps should be?
Yeah, I mean, it's not always easy. I totally get it. I still go through it every single day, but just know you can always figure it out as you go. You are more capable than you realize. Just remember, ready, fire, aim. Start before you're ready, take action, and course correct as you go. And I will be cheering you on. You are not alone in this journey.
Oh, Sheena, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today, to sharing your experience and your wisdom. I mean, I've taken some things that I'm going to put into practice once we end this conversation. So, thank you so much. And one thing that really stood out from this conversation is preparing for the future is not just about learning the technical skills, there's also the building confidence to use those skills, there's the developing the courage to speak up, and then trusting yourself, of course, to make the decision and to make sure that your work is seen. So to everyone who is watching, just remember you don't have to know everything before you begin. Start where you are, learn the skills, build something, share your work, and keep improving, because every small step you take today helps prepare you for the opportunities ahead. And at Klugekopf TechBridge, we'll continue to support women as they build practical skills, as they gain confidence and create visible proof of work, and open doors to careers and technology and leadership. Sheena, thank you once again for doing this with us today. And then thank
Thank
you everyone for
thank you, everyone.
joining. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Thank you, Sheena, so much.
Thank you.